Some of us will die today. Why not? We are all of us here mortal, and so we cower under the tyranny of an authority who calls himself Creator. And that paradise exists only for those who obey. Today is our chance, because if we don't fight until the end, we will lose everything. So yes, today some of you will die. For from today, death is no longer an ending. So from today, the authority has no power over us. Life confronts death. Today, we are free! We are free!
The kingdom of heaven is nigh.
Let's bring it down, shall we?
I'm glad I said we didn't have to win this fight.
There are advantages to not being the chosen one.
Holding position.
They're here.
Attack!
It's time. Go to the southern perimeter.
If you think you have seen bold fantasy rebellion before, think again. The war at the heart of Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials is not fought with swords and shields alone, not with armies clashing over borders or thrones, not with petty disputes over crowns or land. This is a war waged on the fundamental fabric of existence itself, a war for the right to be free, to think, to choose, to exist outside the iron grip of a divine tyranny that has held every sentient being in every parallel universe in a chokehold for thousands of years. Lord Asriel's rejection of the kingdom of heaven is not just a plot point in a fantasy series. It is the single most daring act of defiance in the entire history of fantasy literature. And today we are going to unpack every layer of that defiance, every thread of the cosmic stakes that hang in the balance, every hidden meaning behind a war that does not just seek to overthrow a king, but to rewrite the very rules of what it means to be alive. If you are even passingly familiar with His Dark Materials, either through Pullman's groundbreaking original trilogy, Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass, or through the BBC and HBO's critically acclaimed television adaptation, you know that this is not a simple story of good versus evil. This is not a fairy tale where a hero slays a dragon and rides off into the sunset. This is a story that challenges every single thing we are taught to accept about power, about faith, about authority, about the very nature of good and evil, and at the center of that challenge is Lord Asriel, a man whose ambition is not limited to a single world, a single kingdom, a single universe. His ambition stretches across the infinite expanse of the multiverse, and his target is nothing less than the divine authority that has ruled over all of creation since the beginning of time. To understand the true weight of the cosmic stakes here, we have to first put Asriel's rebellion in context with the entire history of the fantasy genre. For decades, centuries even, fantasy has been tied to the structures of traditional mythology, to the ideas of divine right, of a natural order, of a higher power that guides the fate of the world. Even in the most rebellious fantasy stories, the heroes are usually fighting to restore a rightful king, to fix a broken system, to return the world to a natural order that has been disrupted by a dark lord. Even the most iconic fantasy sagas of all time, from The Lord of the Rings to A Song of Ice and Fire, ultimately operate within a framework that accepts a certain natural order of things, a moral structure that the heroes fight to uphold. Pullman's work does the exact opposite, and Asriel's rebellion is the beating heart of that reversal. He is not fighting to restore a rightful order. He is fighting to destroy the order entirely. He is not fighting to put a better king on the throne. He is fighting to abolish the throne entirely. He is not fighting to fix the system. He is fighting to burn it to the ground and build something entirely new in its place. That is what makes his act of rebellion so unprecedented in fantasy history. He is not just challenging a corrupt ruler. He is challenging the very idea of divine rule itself, the very idea that there is a higher power that has the right to dictate how sentient beings live their lives, what they believe, how they choose to exist. To grasp the full scope of the war Asriel is waging, we have to first understand the enemy he is facing. The kingdom of heaven, as it is presented in his dark materials, is not the peaceful, loving afterlife we are taught to believe in from childhood. It is a tyrannical regime, a cosmic dictatorship built on fear, lies, and oppression. It is ruled by a being known only as the Authority, who claims to be the creator of all things, the one true God, the source of all moral law. But as we learn over the course of the trilogy, that claim is a lie. The Authority is not the creator of the universe. He is simply the first angel to condense out of dust, the first conscious being to come into existence, and for thousands of years, he has used the lie of his divine creation to hold power over every single sentient being in every single parallel universe. The Authority's regime is built on one core principle: obedience, absolute, unthinking, blind obedience. He and his agents, the angels, the magisterium, the church in every world, teach that free will is a sin, that consciousness is a corruption, that asking questions, seeking knowledge, thinking for yourself, is the original sin that condemns humanity to suffering. They teach that the only path to salvation is to submit, to obey, to give up your right to choose, to hand over your autonomy to the Authority and his representatives on Earth. They have spent thousands of years suppressing knowledge, crushing dissent, murdering anyone who dares to question their rule, anyone who dares to seek out the truth about the universe. Play about dust, about the nature of their own existence. This is not just a religious tyranny, it is an existential one. The Authority's regime does not just control how people live their lives,